This week, my one thing is going to fall under three things. I'm going to talk about three things under one heading, which is the three L's. And a number of international clients that we've worked with have had this common theme of feedback as to why they like Ireland. We all have an idea of what we think we want from an experience, a service, an ideology, or a move to Ireland, for example. I always ask people, especially internationally, what it is that drew them originally and then what the result was at the end when they got what they wanted, essentially. So the first thing is the location. What's really interesting about the location is that Ireland's a very central hub. And I think being in Ireland all the time, people can overlook that. They don't realize how central we are to the rest of Europe. And internationally, we're really smack bang in the middle of that map for people that creates that ideal jumping off point for everywhere else. So if you're traveling to and from other countries, if your headquarters is in another country, or if you're trying to set up satellite sites, it makes it a lot easier to be in a location where you've got multiple flights. It's affordable, it's easy to do, and it's quite regular. The location seems to have been a very big part of why they chose here. It's not that they want to move to Ireland and stay here forever. It's actually that they want to have here as their headquarters and then choose to go elsewhere. But here gives them the best vantage point to do that. So it's a case of moving here, getting used to it, having that experience in Ireland, which is very important, but then also looking at Spain, Portugal, all the other countries within Europe that have that opportunity to explore without it being too far afield or too cumbersome to actually get to. So location was a big one for people. The second one was actually the lifestyle. I do know we have a pretty good quality of life. I think relative to the past, we have a phenomenal quality of life. When I look at the role it played in people's enjoyment of the country, it was huge. I think it's because people have had that point of reference of living in other countries, maybe metropolitan locations, that the pace of life was very fast. The quality of life might have been a lot different, and also the quality of family life. And even if you take, for example, being in London, you could have a very busy job and you're getting on the train early in the morning, let's say 6, and you may not be back until 7, 8, 9 at night, including when you go to the gym or when you socialise. The unusual feature we have in Ireland, and Dublin especially, is you can be in the city centre during the day, you can have your meetings, and then you can still go for a sea swim or go for a run up a mountain in the evening. And I think when people originally were coming here, it might have been strategic. They thought, well, we're going to move here for this particular reason. Maybe it's family, maybe it's opportunities moving up the ladder, or maybe a new job or position or potential business acquisition. And then when they move here and they see that quality of life day to day, it's almost like an unfolding, because they realize that they can work hard, they can engage with their peers, they can do all of that, they can do all of that networking, but then they don't have to forego the time before work and after work if they don't want to. A prime example for me is I could be in the city centre during the day and then I could decide to go for a walk in the evening, especially with the brighter evenings down in Bay. So it's a kind of a 45-minute drive, 50-minute drive, and it is so easy to get to, so simple. It's not off the beaten track, and you haven't lost 4 hours making the effort to do it. Now, I know those who live in America and Canada may say, well, we can go skiing on the weekends and it only takes 8 or 9 hours to get there. That's lunacy, as far as I'm concerned. And when you're in Ireland, you realize that we have a small enough island that everything is pretty much within reach. But the lifestyle piece was a big one for people. And I think a lot of people found that they were able to plug into a local ecosystem far faster than they could in a lot of other countries. And it's not always the fact that people have to join an expat community. Ireland can be quite open when you just go locally and grab a coffee, when you go for a sea swim, when you happen upon someone in work or in your networking group that happens to do something that you're interested in. We're very open to try and bring you along with that. And I think from a lifestyle perspective, people really sought solace in it, hoping for the best and expecting the worst. And I think they were pleasantly surprised. So like I say, with the likes of Sandy Cove and Dalkey, for anyone who's around the coast and they go for their swims, I call them the dry road brigade, because you'll see them at 5:30, 6 in the morning getting their coffee, and they'll have their, essentially like it's like a biker gang, except an Irish fancy version where they go swimming, and this is their badge of honor. But all jokes aside, there are people that connect, they collaborate, they have conversations, they network. They also, so there's a fitness element to it and a health element. That lifestyle piece was huge. And another tack on to that was schools. People didn't have to forego one or the other. You could pick a location to be close to schools. Your family can go there. You can still engage with them day to day before and after work. It wasn't a case of sending them off and not seeing them until the wee hours of the morning or on the weekends. People felt there was a real well-rounded feeling to it. And thirdly, it was actually languages. Language was one of those interesting things, because we take for granted that we're a very international country. We're a central hub for a lot of the big players, which is great. When I speak with Americans and a lot of international people, but predominantly recently it's been Americans, they are taking a view to potentially moving for whatever reasons. they may have, but Ireland really seems to stand out for them because they got language first. It means they can land. Yes, the climate may be slightly different than they're used to generally, but they can get on with things and settle in faster than they may in other countries. The learning curve is different. And that's something we could take for granted because, it's around us. Yes, we have international people. We're a very international country. We're very welcoming from that perspective. But when people are looking at somewhere on the map they can go and settle into faster, Ireland seems to hit that right note for them, or that sweet spot. So the three things this week under my one thing being the three L's, is language, lifestyle, and location. And it's really interesting when you speak with people and you get a better understanding of what it is that drew them to the country versus what they feel afterwards. These were the three main things that seem to come up. People are seeing Ireland as a central hub. It's got a good lifestyle and they like the language. It's something that I'm really seeing come to the fore with a lot of people starting those conversations. I'll let everyone else make their own minds up. Everyone else may have other ideas, but they're the three things, and I wanted to put those three things under the one thing for this week. In the meantime, we're coming into June in the next few days. Really is exciting times. I think when it gets brighter, that gives everyone a lift. We're making the most of the days, and there's nothing like an Irish person to not waste a sunny evening. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I hope you have a great week.